Aristela Orbis, newest Ascended character on Grand Stoners Global, and we need to get this showcase out the way before all the craziness happens with the new chapter coming out in the course BF Mira. I already made a shitty summon on Aristela Orbis and talked about her here and there in live streams and stuff, and overall my thoughts with her is that she's pretty solid. She's not amazing, she's not terrible, but a very solid overall unit. And in today's video, we actually get to finally check her out thanks to my man Provoke. He's letting me use his Aristela for this entire showcase, and she performed really well. And we'll talk about her performance in just a second, but let's actually break her down real quick for the people who don't know. So Aristela Orbis has a few things going for her. One of the biggest things that you need to keep in mind is her passive health hacker. This gives you damage and break power 30% up when the enemy is above 50% or more HP. Personally, I would really have loved this break power to be a little bit more, but it is what it is, since she does have a lot of breaking capabilities in her kit. Talking about the kit, she's able to autofill everybody's arc gauge by 4 for 15 seconds. Granted, this is a type B archgen though, so won't work with Haruto, Emperor, all that type of stuff. She also has a true art that's able to reduce the enemy's magic res and break res by 80%. Very, very huge on that. Also 8,000 break on this. This thing does crazy amount of break damage. And you have the super art, which the super art, I'm gonna be honest, doesn't really come up too much. The break value is a little bit lower. The damage isn't anything insane since it's only an 80k multiplier. However, it does buff up all stats by 30%, and it buffs up all water units damage by 60% every time it's used, up to a maximum of 300%. In terms of the slots on this character, we get a 5-star support, 5-star magic, and a 4-star magic. For the 5-star support, it's the usual AoE archgen items, Malim's clothes, Goku uniforms. Of course, if you're newer to the game, single target archgen items like Lesser Demon Heart, the Magic Stone Mask, or even like Optima Raid if you've done PvP enough. 5-star magic, you're really going to be looking at stuff that's going to be buffing up your art gauge. Unfortunately, with magic slots for breakers, there's not really too much you can utilize. So you're mainly looking at stuff that's going to be buffing up your art gauge, like Ren's outfit, Victor's catsuit, Exceeds X, any of those, and you'll be vibing. For the 4-star magic here, you could really go with whatever you want. In terms of the crest slots on this character, man, you can go with a lot on here. Well, I say a lot, but I think it's pretty standard. Art gauge up will be fantastic on this unit just to help get her jump started. That's always a very solid crest for pretty much every character in the game. I wouldn't go attack up whatsoever, but I would go break up, as we see that Provoke did, because she's going to want as much break as possible. And since we're not getting too much break power up from equips, pretty much none at all, giving extra break power up with a crest will be very, very beneficial. And yeah, that's kind of it. Art gauge up, break power up would be my go-to for this unit. Now onto how good she actually was. We tried her up against a few different things. One of the main things we actually tried her up against, or the first thing we tried her up against, was the special EX in her event, because this one does require you to break. And we actually decided to bring along Haruto, Chobei, Aristela Orbis, and of course Valentine's Day Priscilla. I will say though, one thing that I was extremely surprised about was that at the end of this, I thought Chobei would still be dealing the most amount of break value, but no. Aristela Orbis is actually dealing the vast majority of break damage. As you see here, the break is going crazy with Chobei's true art, with Aristela's true art, and you just kind of keep that loop going till, the boss eventually dies. Now, one thing that is a little bit kind of, I wouldn't want to say really frustrating, but it is something to keep in mind, is that the break res down or the magic res down doesn't last for that long. It only lasts for 15 seconds, and I swear in gameplay it seems like it only lasts for like 10. It really feels very short, but hey, it still works. I would have preferred it to be at least 20 seconds. It would have felt pretty lengthy then, but lots of damage once we finally break this guy, and we just pop off overall. Break values were good, damage is good on this team, and healing is amazing. But as you see the detail screen here, we dealt really good damage to Aristela Orbis, 3.5 million, 2.9 with Chobei, everyone else doing pretty solid as well. And if we actually look at the break values, 87k with Chobei, which is pretty impressive since Chobei is a stacking breaker. But look at Aristela Orbis, 74,000. That's really not too far behind Chobei. That is insanely good. Now, if we need to break a boss, you already know what we're going up against, man. We're going against the man himself, Emperor. And we're going with the exact same team here. Look at the break values even here. Like, insane damage to the break gauge. I personally could have just went with another character here and just let Aristela Orbis handle this, because she's able to do this perfectly fine on her own. She does not need the help of Chobei, which is one of the things that I realized as playing through this and showcasing this unit. This character can just do it by herself. She doesn't need another breaker. She doesn't need to be helped whatsoever. She can be the main breaker if you want her to be. And you really wouldn't run into too many issues if that was the case. If you want to also arch gen with her, then, you know, you may be stretching it a little when it comes to, you know, arc gauge from her and then also the breaking and everything. So there's that to take into account. But hey, if you're running a character like Haruto, you're not going to care about arch genning with Aristela Orbis whatsoever. Or if you got another arch gen on the team like Valentine's Day Priscilla, War God Finn, whoever, you're vibing, right? But yeah, in this fight too, lots of healing, lots of damage, and insta break about a minute in, really not too bad on that. And then once that was that, I mean, the rest of this fight is very, very easy. At that point, we're just trying to kill this guy as fast as possible. But not only that, we can't actually break the boss anymore. As soon as you break Emperor once, you can't break him. So yeah, that kind of sucks when it comes to showing off break values with Aristela Orbis. But really, overall, I'm actually extremely impressed with this unit. I'm not saying she's broken, you should go summon for her instantly and obtain her. But if you actually got this character and you don't have units like Arthur, or you don't have characters like Chloe, or even Chobei, I would assume, but I would more so argue Arthur and Chloe since they're more of that supporting breaker role, having Aristela Orbis is a great middle ground. If she wasn't type E Archon, that would be extremely, extremely beneficial for her. And if her true art lasted just about 5 more seconds, and the super art had better modifiers, because the super art only have an 80,000% modifier, it's rough, man. It really is. It's very, very rough. Even with the 60% damage buff to herself and to all other water allies whenever she uses it, it's still not enough to kind of, you know, mitigate that low modifier percentage that she has. I personally would have went with 100,000 myself, or maybe even 120k, just to really hone in on the damage with this unit. But yeah, that low modifier really hurts her when you want to DPS with her or nuke with her or whatever. Also, another thing that kind of sucks about Aristela Orbis is the slots. Her not having a physical slot is kind of whack for a breaker, since breakers really want that physical slot if they can have it. And I don't actually know why we have all these equips coming out in the game when it comes to all these different crossovers, and we still don't have a magic break equip. Like, where is it? Come on now. I'm not talking about one that just does a lot of break value. I'm talking about one that actually buffs up your break damage or something. Like, we need that. We need that because there's so many magic breakers in the game that can't utilize their break to the fullest potential. But as you see here with the detail screen, Aristela Orbis hitting for 82,000 break, actually out breaking Chobei in this one. Very, very good stuff here, and hey, it was great. The next thing that we did, this was just for fun. We decided to nuke with her, and the nuke team that we went with was a Jay, Water Belia, Aristela Orbis, and War God Finn. And this nuke team worked really well. Surprisingly though, I will say, Aristela Orbis actually didn't deal the most damage, even though she was the one who used her super art and everyone else used like crits and everything. Yeah, she did not deal the most damage here. It was Jay. I don't see how. I really don't. I don't. Jay has a 70k multiplier on his true art. Maybe it hits more. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's faster. Who knows? But yeah. And Jay still hit more than Aristela Orbis, and by a pretty good margin. It was about 1 million more. Either way though, Aristela Orbis, very solid character. If I was going to put her on a tier list, I would put this unit in about an A tier myself. Very capable of doing whatever you need her to do when it comes to breaking. And yeah, she's going to be great if you need a water breaker. And that really is what you should look at this unit as. She is a breaker only. She is a breaker and a debuffer. Nothing else. If you think that she is a damage dealer, you're wrong. She can arch gen for you. You know, you can keep that in mind, but do not look at this unit as a damage dealer. You will be very disappointed. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you all again for coming out. It's been your boy P. If you enjoyed this video, have to check out either one of the other videos popping on the screen right now. Great content. Guarantee you'll love them. Let me know down below what you guys think about Aristela Orbis. You guys loving her? You guys not? You hating her? Let me know all that type of stuff down below in the comment section. Thanks again to my man Provoke for allowing me to do this. Oh, and one more thing before you leave. Don't forget to drink water.